This is the Surly Grognards for August 21st, 2017. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. So, we actually have a couple of things to talk about this week, for once. Yay.
Hooray!
Um, and so we'll talk about those, but we're going to start off with our usual sort of go over a little bit about what we've been up to recently. Gaming-wise, just because we like to do that sort of each show. And someone suggested it was a good way, sort of little structural thing to do at the start of each episode, sort of get out of the way.
Right.
I guess I'll start off because I've actually been playing Final Fantasy XIV.
The not Eric game.
Yeah. Basically, I've been sort of working on. I decided I wanted to do a since I want to do a I wanted to play an MMO again, but with like an actual like community. Like, actually have a guild with people to talk to, like, in-game. Because I haven't done that in a while. I mean, like, we sort of have that with the Star Trek group that we play with.
Yep.
But Star Trek is not a typical MMO in almost every way.
Right.
And I was kind of in a sort of a fantasy MMO mood. So I basically
Cool.
threw together a poll and polled the viewers, people who watch the stream and such, and FF14 ended up winning. I'd picked up a copy of it during some Steam sale at some point. I don't remember
Right.
when. Uh, so I was like, oh well, I don't have to buy the game now this way. But I've been playing it. I've been playing for a few days on my free month right now. Uh, my initial impressions. It plays a lot like World of Warcraft. It sort of is based the way it plays. Not a surprise. The environments are fucking gorgeous.
Right.
The music is great. And the character models are all very well done, and the animations are great. Very stylish and well thought out. Like, the emotes have well done animations to them, which is nice. And, like, the faces actually are somewhat expressive, too. Like, if you see, like, a little sort of mini cutscene type thing with your character in it, your character's facial expressions will change, and they don't look terrible.
Awesome. I just wish they had a
I
race that
I
I
know.
cared the least a bit about.
I know, Eric. I know. It is not an Eric game.
It is
Uh,
not an Eric game.
it is not. I freely acknowledge that. The closest thing they've got two races now that are like in the ballpark of sort of like there's like live next door to Ericville, but they don't live in
Yeah.
Ericville.
they're on the same block. I wouldn't say they're next door, but they're on the same block.
Sure, like the Rogaden are they're close to dwarves at least. Is that they're
Sure.
giant?
It's just they're so. Everything I've seen of the Rogadin just make them so. Like yeah, they've got the big muscles and everything, but they're just so rounded and soft. Like I don't feel like that's something that could like kill and devour another person, which is what I want to play.
I know, Eric, because you're
I
your
love my
monsters.
monsters.
You love your monsters. I freely acknowledge that. And then there's the other race who I always forget the name of because they're relatively new. I think it's the Alra, yeah, the vaguely lizardy things.
Yeah. My
Uh,
God, they're pretty for a monster race.
yeah,
Like offensively so. Like
like I did not know you could make a lizard man type thing be Bishonen, but they did.
I'm just like I don't want your Bishonen bullshit. Give me orcs, proper orcs. Give me goblins. Give me Skaven. Give me Char from Guild Wars 2. The Char are fucking amazing.
Yep. Well, no, apparently not. But like the goblins in Final Fantasy, I showed you like a screenshot of one
Yeah,
of them.
they're adorable. They've got like the little gas masks and the little like grenades. Yeah, I could totally play that.
Yeah. But yeah. So not Eric's thing. Like, yeah.
Can't even give me goblins.
No, I'm sorry, Eric.
Nope, that's okay.
Like,
I did start playing Guild Wars 2. Start playing that again
sure.
recently. And the gameplay is good, but not great. Honestly, Elder Scrolls Online does it better.
Yep, that was my impression of it from what I've seen of Guild Wars 2 and from
Yeah.
talking to people about it and having played Elder ESO.
Yep, Guild Wars 2 does it better. But they're just aesthetically, I adore Guild Wars 2.
I
Like they make a lot of great choices aesthetically there.
yeah,
Um,
the char are definitely neat. I agree with you
the
on
the
that.
char are awesome. The female char are not at any way, shape, or form sexualized, which is amazing.
Yeah, that actually surprised me when I saw that.
Yeah, like
Like,
they're definitely female. Like they gave them fluffy tails so you can tell from a distance. Their heads are definitely like the female heads are definitely softer and their horns are different. But yeah, they tend to be of slaughter build. That's about it. That's
yeah,
a big difference.
I will say that's one of the things I do like about the Rogadin also is the female Rogadin don't look they're less they're slimmer, but that's about it.
Right.
And they again they've got boobs, they look female, but they're mostly like I mean the Rogadin are basically sort of quasi giants really.
Yeah.
And I really dig the female Rogadin models. Actually, they're actually really well done.
Yeah, and that's something else about Guild Wars too. Like you want to do like the super Bishonen like Knight Prince, yeah, you can totally do that.
Yep.
The humans are all totally Bishonen. You can make an ugly human though if you want.
Yep.
But if you want to be a big badass human guy, you've got the Nord right there.
Yep.
If you want to be something cute and kind of vicious looking, you've got the Asura, and then you've got the filthy plant monsters. By filthy plant monsters, I mean the Sylvani, which are or Sylvanan. I don't know. I don't pay attention to them. As far as I'm concerned, they're just there to give up quest rewards.
Right.
they're, they're, they're relatively pretty looking, like dryad type people. Jesus Christ, they're giant hippies though.
Yeah, I will say this also about FF14. It is well constructed for someone who's never played an MMO before. It
Right.
does a really good job of teaching you how to play an MMO. Like, there's a mini quest thing which teaches you the basics of, what you're supposed to do in a party in a dungeon. And it's got a separate tutorial for each of the roles.
That's pretty cool.
And it gives you rewards for doing it. That's actually pretty decent gear and stuff.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it has all this stuff. For someone who's an MMO vet, it's a little handholdy.
Mm.
The early voice acting throughout all of the the base stuff that when the game came out there. There's not a lot of voice acting. They apparently with Heaven's Ward, the first expansion, basically recast all their voice actors with like one or two exceptions.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, that's something. That's another praise I'll sing for Guild Wars 2 is the voice acting's across the board moderately good.
well,
Like you're not gonna like weep or anything, but at the same time, you're not gonna have readings that just make you want to bash your skull in.
I don't. Final Fantasy 14 does anything that makes me want to bash my head in, but none of it is good with
Right.
one or two exceptions. Like the Rogan Admiral, who's a major NPC, political NPC and such. She's actually one of the ones who's actually well voiced, and they kept her. There's a bit in the game where the three major sort of faction leaders all give these big give these big speeches things. Hers is the one that sounds like she understood, like the character understood what the concept of actually giving a speech is.
I will
Like,
say there's a bit of dissonance when I'm wandering around Broccoli Land, as Tony put it, and it's like we must preserve nature. We must preserve these natural resources against exploitation. I'm a giant cat monster who lives inside a steampunk Death Star. I am carrying a flamethrower. And you want me to do what now? Just why are you choosing me to do this?
you're talking to the wrong person.
You see a beautiful forest in need of preservation. I see timber for our war machines.
But yeah, it again for an experienced MMO player, it's a little handholdy.
Mm.
And there are a few dead bits. There are people bits in there which feel like there's a lot of running around talking to people, and which is not a bad thing inherently, but it goes on too long, in my opinion. That said, I'm enjoying it so far. and I dig the job system because you can rotate between,
Right.
you can do different jobs and do different classes and jobs, and it's cool. It's a
Cool.
good game, and if you're interested in trying an MMO and are willing to spend money, because you have to spend money to play it,
Right.
it's a good first MMO. It really is.
I Yeah, and I'm sure for 99% of the people out there, the aesthetics are totally what they're looking for.
I don't. There are a fair number of people I can understand not digging some of the aesthetics. There are some things
Right.
that I can't take seriously. I can't take the Lalafell seriously.
Oh no, those guys are snacks.
Actually, the really funny thing about them is, from what I understand, there are a lot of really fucking evil Lalafell out there. Like in the NPC. Like, dear God, Eric. Um, there's this one quest you do, involves one of the early dungeons you can get into, where you're told about the history of this. It's basically it's a mine, and you're told by the history of this mine that the Lalafell basically did. They're the ones who did it, and so basically it's this mine that was abandoned for a long time, and they recently started mining, and they dug dug too deep, as it were.
Right.
See, what happened was ages ago, like 3 centuries ago, there's this mine. The Lalafell needed to mine it. The Lalafell are tiny, so what they
Right.
did is they got a bunch of these giant things, these giants, and grafted magical mind control helmets onto them to make them their miners.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
And
Yes, that's what you want to do. You want to make drudges. That's exactly how you want to
and
handle
the
the
enchantment started
situation.
wearing off, and the giants started to look like they were about to rebel. So you know what the Lalafell did? They
Killed them
collapsed the
in.
mine on top of the giants.
Yeah, they're jerks.
And so they were mining like 3 centuries later and opened up the bottom, and the giants were still there alive. They've just been buried for 3 centuries, and they're very angry. So you're being sent in to deal with the giants because we need the resources from this mine to basically save the entire country. It's just like, you guys are dicks. I mean, their individual awful are fine, like
Right.
the current empress of this particular subcountry. Uh, she's actually seems like she's actually reasonably decent, and apparently she's fighting off political adversaries left and right, from what I'm hearing, which is kind of hilarious.
Mm.
Like a lot of the dicks, honestly. But yeah, Lalafell are actually evil. It turns out, which is
Anything that tiny and cute has got to be evil.
but I'm just like, oh my god, what did you expect to happen?
Of course, that's what was going to happen.
Oh my god. So that amused me. I did enjoy that. Um, Other than that, not a whole lot's been going on gaming wise since last episode, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like world building stuff in Guild Wars 2. I really enjoy.
Yep.
Like the starting area for the Char, for example. You're busy fighting ghosts, and the reason why there are ghosts, and they're human ghosts, is the Char basically took back this land in a big war centuries ago, and the human kingdom in charge of it basically, as they were losing, their mad king went, you know what? Fuck this! I am nuking my citizens and binding their souls to the land, so you will never live in peace here. Fuck you, giant cat monsters.
Alrighty.
that's why you. That's why you are fending off vengeful ghosts in farmland.
Nice.
um, and like the humans are human society is very devout, but their gods are missing.
Oh dear.
Their gods fucked off, and the Char are like, why do you even bother with gods? We killed ours because they're annoying. I really like the Char.
You don't say. All right.
But yeah, for not MMO stuff, I played some 40K this weekend, which is fun.
Cool.
Got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Just basically I had to add 500 points onto my list for the guy who had 2,500. I only brought 2,000
Ah.
prepared. So I had to add 500 points on. I didn't have time to think about like synergies or how these other things are supposed to interact. And I made no small amount of mistakes during gameplay.
Ah.
Like, I really should have just dumped everything I had on those goddamn Centurions.
Oops.
um, just like they were just dominating the battlefield from their like ensconced position. I should have just shoved some knobs and some boys right up their nose and just cut them to pieces. I just couldn't quite do it and kept on letting myself get distracted.
Ah,
So,
I see.
yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Plus, fucking apothecaries bringing back centurions. Must have killed those same two centurions a dozen times over the course of the game.
Ugh. Annoying. All right. So I guess we'll get on to our actual topic for this week.
Sure.
Topic sort of. We got two questions from a viewer, which we figured we could try to spin out over the course of the show. They're both from Zent the First. Thank you, Zent. We appreciate that.
Yes, awesome.
We also got another topic suggestion from the Zodiac, but that one required a bit of pre-show work.
Actual fucking research.
Sort of. I'll tell you what I'll tell you what it was actually.
Sure.
She suggested if we haven't watched it, we should watch and talk about a movie from giant robot movie called RoboJocks.
Oh wow, RoboJocks! I haven't seen that in years.
Same. I watched it ages ago and only vaguely remember it.
Oh, holy shit!
So we might rewatch that at some point and talk about it on a show at some point because I think that'd be fun. But Zent had two questions that I wanted to go over, and both of them sort of spin out into a little bit longer conversations. So the first one is sort of directed almost directly at me, but so Zent mentions that he'd been rewatching old Grognards episodes and noticed that he's heard me mention several times that I don't like the Kender. And so my question is, why do you not like them? Also, just a warning, I don't know much of Dragonlance or the Kender as a whole, so a brief explanation might be required. Okay, the Kender.
Kender.
All right, so the Kender are the Dragonlance half Hobbit equivalents, basically. They're halflings.
Yeah.
Um,
So Dragonlance, for those that don't know, is a one of the published D&D worlds.
yep, it was a series of novels first.
Yep.
That was adapted into a setting.
Yep.
And the Kender are...
If you couldn't figure it out, it's got a lot of fucking dragons in it.
Yes, it does. There's a Kender character in the stories named... Crap, I've forgotten his name. Starts with a T.
I don't remember. I haven't read Dragonlance since middle school, so... We'll call him Terrence. That begins with the T.
Oh, God. What was his name? I've forgotten his name. Whatever.
So
like
Terrence.
Tasselhoff. Tasselhoff, that's who it is.
That's it. Yes.
Okay, so the thing about the Kender as a whole, one of their big cultural traits is they are kleptomaniacs. That's like a thing. It is, built in. It's part of, what they're supposed to be. They steal shit all the time from everybody. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, they don't have a concept of ownership, and it just does not click in their heads that things belong to people.
Right. And it's an annoying trait. The thing is, the Kender, like a lot of the races in Dragonlance, they have all these sort of in the actual. I don't really have an objection to them as a fictional thing, and as part of the setting and part of the novels, they don't really bother me. The problem with them is when you get to the tabletop, and their kleptomania is a role-playing requirement for them. Much in the same way as the Gully Dwarves, who are also a Dragonlance thing, their ineptitude and stupidity are literally baked into their thing, and you have to play them stupid, otherwise you get XP penalties and shit. I hate both of them. I think they're both terrible, terrible ways to design anything in a role-playing game. I'm not a big fan of baked-in mechanical force role-playing. Um,
Right.
I
And
have a,
that's something I totally understand.
I have a similar
Um,
feeling. I honestly have come to this. I mean, like the Paladin Code of Honor that was in early versions of D&D. I now look back at that and I'm like, yeah, that's not really good design.
mm,
Um, uh, especially the Paladin Code. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Uh, but I have my problem with the Kender. And again, the Gully Dwarves are awful. Also, they're just terrible.
yeah, I've got no love for the Gully Dwarves. They're my go on about the Kender, because I'll go on about the Gully Dwarves.
Yeah. So, okay. The thing with both of them is they both have this sort of baked-in, rules-required, forced role-playing, effectively.
Right.
The Gully Dwarves are, again, I'm not defending them in any way, shape, or form. The reason I don't like the Kender more than I dislike the Kender more than I dislike the Gully Dwarves, is honestly the Kender's kleptomania thing is the Gully Dwarves, sort of stupidity and ineptitude and all that stuff is a problem for that individual character, and it's annoying to deal with. But it's
Mm,
not actively disruptive to the party. It doesn't cause infighting the way the Kender do. Uh, like you can work around the Kender thing, but the other thing is literally every Kender I've ever run into in any tabletop RPG has been played by somebody who is attracted to the Kender because it gives them the excuse to be obnoxious and screw with the other players and basically make everything a giant fucking mess.
mm,
And while inter-party conflict is a good thing, it's only a good thing when everybody's okay with it, or the people involved
right.
are okay with it, and are like having someone who's in your group constantly stealing shit from you and making things problematic and playing it off as it's just because of the roleplay. It's disruptive and infuriating. I hate them. And every player I've ever interacted with, I'm not talking about the character, but the player who likes the Kender and wants to play Kender in that sort of way, uh, almost without exception. I've met a couple people. I've played with a couple people who like the Kender who are exceptions to this, but
Right.
because
I will say, yeah.
they're always
The
exceptions.
only time I've played with a someone playing a Kender in a D&D game was gajillions of years ago, back in high school, and he was not disruptive at all. In fact, one of the things he would do is like, "Crap, we're about to be overrun. Where's my thing? Oh, I got it right here. Why do you have my? Doesn't matter. It's exactly what we need."
No, and it can be structured. It can be handled in a way that's not terrible, but I just found it always engenders the most infuriating aspects of playing in a group with people who are there to be disruptive.
Right.
Um, it doesn't have to be, but that's the way it always has been for me, and for the majority of people I know who have played with people who play Kender. I've heard virtually no good stories of Kender. People playing with
Right.
them.
Like I said, apparently I am the only person who's had a good experience playing with someone playing a Kender. And yeah, he was literally like the magic bag of that thing you need right now.
And again, I could grok seeing it like a character like that is. I can see like I've played with characters who are like that, who are kleptomaniacs and such, but they were built that way, and again, it's a case of they were always characters that were built from the ground up, that were built that way, intentionally ignored, like not because it's like this is I'm a Kender, I do this. It's because this is
How you wanted to play the character.
right, and also the party went to it knowing that. There's a race in one of the alien races that were in the GURPS Aliens book, the Sparials, sci-fi race, who have a similar trait. They're a lot like Space Kender in a lot of ways, but they go to a really good job in the Aliens book explaining the cultural reasons behind it for the Sparials, for them it's not so much they don't acknowledge the it's not so much like they acknowledge they don't acknowledge property or what have you or anything like that. For them it's a little game of one-upsmanship, and
Mm.
they do it as, and they don't generally take things that are like important. They'll take small knickknacks and shit. And the big thing is that it's really easy to just the other thing is that you're like, the way you deal with this burial is you basically just tell them, okay, give me back. You turn them in every now and then and say, okay, what have you taken from me? Can you give it back, please? Because you're acknowledging they stole something from you, and they've won the one-upsmanship, and they're more than happy to give it right back to you right then. It's like, oh yeah, sure, here you go, here's your wallet.
Right.
Like, you're going to sort of, okay, dude, can I have my wallet back? It's like, oh, yep, no problem, here you go. And it's better explained, and there's in sort of explained within the sort of design of the race a way to diffuse the situation to make it not, a problem.
Not so, right.
And I, if there was more of that in the Kender, I think that would have. Again, it's a case of the Kender are it's from an older era of role-playing games.
Right.
And it's just they haven't aged well at all. And I also think I would be less forgiving. I was much, like when I was younger, I was more forgiving of the Kender than I am now. I find them as I've gotten older, I've become more and more infuriated with them and people who like them. But fucking Kender.
Yeah, I haven't had the experience with Kender that you have. My issues are with Gully Dwarves because it's the couple times I've played with someone playing a Gully Dwarf, they've used their stupidity and cowardness in exactly the same way you described someone using the Kender.
I can see it.
Like as an excuse to do exactly the wrong thing that fucks everybody over because lols.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've never actually played with anyone playing Gully Dwarf because everyone I've played with has looked at Gully Dwarves and go, fuck that.
Right.
Because the problem, the big thing is that Gully Dwarves are objectively badly designed mechanically.
Yep.
Whereas the Kender they're hobbits. They're halflings. They aren't objectively badly designed. The Gully Dwarves take everything that's actually useful about a dwarf and remove it.
Yep.
It's like, okay. So I've had less opportunity to be infuriated by the Gully Dwarves than
right.
the Kender. But I acknowledge the Gully Dwarves are terrible. They're a terrible
they are
race.
Just they're so infuriating. It's like, arg.
They're awful. They are awful.
They are awful.
There's nothing good about either of them. Let's be honest.
There's nothing good about. I could see ways to do the play a Kender and have it be interesting. Like I said, the bag of whatever you happen to need.
Yeah, and if you throw in this sort of the one-upsmanship angle to it and play it up, that would go a long way to helping the Kender, honestly.
Yeah.
And honestly, if someone wanted to play a Kender, and if I would pitch that to them, and hope they zen with it. And
right.
The other thing is, make sure the other people in the party are okay with all of this stuff going on, because otherwise, fuck you. You are just being disruptive.
Right.
For the sake of being disruptive, as opposed to, creating storytelling moments, really. But this whole topic got me thinking about what are the sort of races and such that you've run into in various RPGs that you just don't like, and not just because it's like. I mean, the classics are, you hate elves. I get that, and
yeah. And here's the thing, I don't. A lot of it's a joke lately. I don't hate elves actually hate them. They are something that I would not enjoy playing, and I will playfully mock other people that do.
Right. I'm not talking about things that you don't like and that you wouldn't want to play, but things that you don't like and don't want to play with other people playing them is more what I'm going for. The Kender and the Gully Dwarves are two great examples of that.
I had a lot of misgivings about the Eladrin, honestly.
The Eladrin? Oh, from
the Eladrin, yeah.
Yeah, from 4th edition.
From 4th edition, because they're the walking example of everything that I hate about elves narratively from generic fantasy story. They're built to be mysterious and superior and condescending.
Right.
And I've since had that proven wrong by people playing them. But I took one look at them. Was like, I do not want to be anywhere near one of those fuckers.
Yeah,
I'd like,
I looked at them and I immediately went, oh my god, these are the Fey elves.
yes, and the Fey elves are all jerkbag dickwads.
And they can be, yes. And you're right. I totally grok why they would bother you. I totally grok why they bother you.
Yeah.
I find the Eladrin vastly more interesting than I find virtually any other elf I've run into in any RPG.
Sure. Sure. I think they'd be great as like the villains in a story. Like holy shit, they'd be great villains, or even as like the.
Oh, they are great villains. They can be great villains. They're fantastic villains.
Excellent villains. They are fucking Deathlock.
Like that's the thing I like about a lot of the 4th edition races. You can spin almost any of them into being great villains if you want to.
Yeah.
With, like the possible exception, like well, humans as always. Of course, they're great villains. They're humans.
They're humans.
The dwarves, oh my god, dwarves make great villains.
Yep.
The Eladrin we just were mentioning. The Dragonborn, oh my god.
Yep.
Fucking great villains. The fucking tieflings?
Yeah, the tieflings are like custom made for that shit.
But like, what I like about all the 4th ed races is they all also spin two very interesting sort of heroic races. Also, like,
yep,
like the heroic tiefling is actually really interesting conceptually.
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Now, I don't think I'd ever play a tiefling, but I totally like can zen with the idea of the heroic tiefling.
Like I will say this flatly. One of my favorite characters I've ever built in 4th that I didn't get to play it very much was a tiefling paladin.
Mm.
And here's the thing: tieflings are really good at mechanically at being paladins.
Yep.
Which is like, well, I'll be damned.
Because they've got the charisma bonus, don't they?
Right. They've got a charisma bonus. They've got a bunch of feats for tiefling paladins that are all awesome. They've got one of their there's a racial feat for tiefling, a feat for tiefling paladins, specifically called Wrath of the Crimson Legion, that basically gives them some bonuses. I forget exactly what they are. I think it changes. It gives them bonuses to like their perception or something like that. I forget. It gives them some bonuses, but the big thing it does, one of the big things it does, is it replaces the tieflings have a racial power that if they can once per encounter, if they're hit, they can do retaliatory flame damage to the person who hit them.
Right.
It replaces that with an ability to basically just do an AoE sort of aura mark on like people based around the air around them, as their divine wrath. It's like the divine wrath of their patron god. It's like that's actually really cool, and because it's this tiefling that's turned its back on its demonic heritage and has fully embraced the light of its its patron god. It's like, and it's the wrath of it's like that's actually really cool.
Yes.
I like a lot of the 4th ed races. Like I like from the base 2 books specifically, from the first 2 players.
Yes,
like
from the first 2 books,
like
absolutely.
The half orcs, they did a great job with the half orcs.
They did a great job with the half
my
orcs.
god,
They made them feel unique. They gave them their own sort of weird culture thing going on. Well, not really, because no one has fucking culture in the 4th ed books.
But the 4th ed books are designed specifically to be the nuts and bolts to build your own campaign around.
Right. But they gave you the seeds that you could build a culture on.
Right.
They're unique. I really like the half orcs. I really like the dragonborn.
Yep, I'd agree with
just
both
like
those.
the giant fire breathing lizard men that with the scions of a fallen empire. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with the tiefling. Like the other little bit of tidbit in there, like
yes, that's the other cool thing about the tieflings. They are also the scions of a fallen empire that was at war with the giant fire-breathing lizard things.
Which is fucking cool!
Yes!
I love that. They did a fantastic job with the half-elves, too.
Yep.
I think they did a really good job with them. Honestly, like, mechanically, the regular elves, i.e. the wood elves, because they're wood elves, let's be real here.
They're wood elves, yep.
Mechanically, they're really solid and interesting. I love the mechanics of them. I just don't find them particularly compelling from a role-playing standpoint, because and here we have elves, generic fantasy elves, and then we have the Eladrin right next to them. But wait, the Eladrin have like all this flavor stuff, and okay, sure, whatever. But like the halflings, well done. They're actually like they made like and they made like humans are actually interesting and fun mechanically. What the hell? When has that ever happened? Um,
Yeah, because humans are almost just generically like
they're
generic.
generic. That's like that was their shtick. And in this, the humans are like, yeah, they're really flexible and they can do all this other stuff. But they turned that flexibility into an actual strength,
Mm.
which is rare. But like the half elves get it too, and just in a different way. They're the two races built around flexibility,
Yep.
and they do it in different ways, which is neat. Um, the dwarves are really well designed, and like say, they made gnomes that were interesting. What?
I don't have the strong dislike of gnomes that you do.
I just find I've always found gnomes just pointless.
I don't, because they've I've always sort of felt gnomes are sort of like the gnomes are the more magically inclined version of the small folk, because you have halflings or like they're halflings.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they are. You
They're
have the
hobbits.
dwarves, which are
No,
the
the halflings are literally the hobbits,
they're
and the gnomes are
hobbits.
dwarves, and the dwarves are dwarves.
And the
And the
dwarves are
gnomes
dwarves,
are
and you
sort of-
have the gnomes are sort of sit in the middle, but they're also the most magically inclined of the two.
Yeah, and if that was
the ones
better,
most inclined towards scientific quotation marks exploration.
That ties into
Yeah. Tinker gnomes. I know.
Yeah. By the way, the Tinker Gnomes are actually on my list of races I hate dealing with. And interestingly, they're a Dragonlance race.
Yep. Dragonlance has a lot of bad races. Although the I actively like the Tinker gnomes. I'm gonna take this thing, I'm gonna make it awesome, and then I'm gonna build a fucking steam-powered robot to mount it on. Because Tinker gnomes.
I'd be more okay. I would be more okay with them if there wasn't the unfortunate associations that I have with them. I think, but
Right.
actually, I've played with someone playing a Tinker Gnome once that was actually who's awesome. But he's one of my good friends who I role play with all the time. My friend Kyle, who
Right.
loves Tinker Gnomes, and for mostly the same reasons you do. He's also an engineer, so he's a computer science guy, computer engineering. So I totally rock why he finds them appealing.
Yeah, what I like about Tinker gnomes is sort of Tinker gnomes are Skaven.
Kinda, yeah.
Tinker gnomes are fucking warlock engineers.
Yep, basically. Again, for me, my problem with the gnomes is always just that, like, as they've been presented over the years until somewhat recently, not just 4th edition. There's some other games where they started presenting them about the same time, where they did a good job with the gnomes. But they always felt like you're right. They're the magically inclined small folk, but they always felt mechanically like the way they were presented in the books and such as sort of like being halfway between halflings and dwarves with a little bit of elf, and it never felt like they had their own identity. There's this weird mishmash of halfling, dwarf, and elf, and weren't presented as being unique on their own. I don't hate them, but they aren't compelling at all for me. That said, basically for me for a long time they were they're the race that has affinity for being an illusionist in D&D.
Right.
That was literally all that stuck out about them for a long time. But they did a good job. They did a really good job within 4th Ed, and there are a few other games where they've done a good job with them in other fantasy games. So that are somewhat recent. What else is in Player's Handbook 2? The half orcs, gnomes.
Was the Diva in there?
The Deva, yep, who are okay.
Yeah.
They're I would have rather they brought the Azamar in from Planescape.
Yeah. Because there's something kind of interesting about playing a constantly reborn divine soul.
Yeah, the past lives thing is interesting.
Yeah, I just don't think you needed a whole race built around it. Like that could easily be. You didn't need a race for that. You could just be like, yeah, no, my part of my thing is I am a constantly reborn divine soul, just trying to figure shit out, and sometimes I have flashes of my past lives. Just do it role-playing way. There you go. Build a campaign around figuring out what the fuck you're supposed to be doing this cycle. Am I supposed to be a farmer? Am I supposed to save the world? I did that last cycle. I'm pretty
All
sure I did that
right.
last
What else
cycle.
do they include in PHP 2? The Goliath. Who are,
Oh, right, right, right.
the Goliath are actually pretty neat. They
Yep.
are. At first glance, they're like, oh, they're giant dwarves, but they have their own sort of cultural honor stuff and other stuff that are actually kind of neat. And the
They
shift,
kind of remind me of the of Ogren
yeah, there's definitely elements of that.
from Iron Kingdoms.
I think the Ogren are more interesting from a flavor standpoint.
I will agree with that, but that's partially because Fourth Head didn't really try that hard to do much more than add seeds of ideas.
Right.
While Iron Kingdoms
It's
works
its own
really
set world.
hard
Yep.
to build it at a distinct world.
Right. And the shifters, who are the quasi lycanthropes, who are actually kind of neat.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, they're kind of neat. I had a couple ideas for them, but I never did anything with them. Because, you got the half-orcs right there. If I want to play something fairly feral, then I can just go and play a fucking half-orc and be like, woo, orc!
Right. And, yeah. But the shifters had some neat stuff to them. Things started getting weird in PHP 3. There are a lot of races in PHP 3 that I look at them like, I would have issues. They're the ones where I have issues in Fourth Ed for me.
Right.
They introduced, like, the shard mines.
Right, and what was it, the Janissari?
The Genasi are Forgotten Realms.
Okay.
The Genasi are actually kind of neat. They're the elemental beings from the realms, who are actually kind of cool, actually.
Okay.
Shard mines. There's a
Didn't they have the Minotaurs in there?
It had Minotaurs, shard mines, and some fey plant species that I can't remember the name of. Who they sort of bounced off me. Now the shard mines are the ones that really always bugged me. They just didn't feel like they worked.
Yeah.
Like I would have a hard time working them in almost any game fluff wise. Oh, the Thrycreen were not. Those are Dark Sun.
Thrycreen are fucking cool.
Thrycreen are one of the things I like about Dark Sun, which are few and far between. I don't like Dark Sun.
Again, I think I think a lot of that is early associations, the kind of people that play Dark Sun.
Well, it was the power.
Because I look at it and I see like post-apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic like Conan the Destroyer stuff.
Yeah,
and like John Carpenter on Mars, but like fantasy, war fantasy, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I just never felt it was particularly well done. I know it was such a power gaming Twink's paradise. Just ugh. But the Thrycreen are neat. I will agree with that.
Who doesn't want to play a friggin' like giant bug monster? No one that I would want to play with would not want to play a giant bug monster.
Hyperbole. Yeah. There was something else in there. I don't remember. But like, I'm just trying to think of like the Tinker Gnomes I have issues with, but I can cope with them.
Right. I can't think of any race that I wouldn't want to play with that I haven't been proven wrong, like the Eladrin. But there are plenty of races that you will never catch me playing.
Right. Oh God, yeah, the same. I mean,
and that I have a aesthetic, and it's almost entirely an aesthetic thing.
Yep, totally. I agree.
I'll play alongside an Eladrin or a Tinker Gnome or a Kender or whatnot. The Kender touches my shit too many times, he'll get eaten, and that's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty flexible with most races. I'm actually willing to play around with most things, but
right.
I'm trying to think of examples from sci-fi that I have issues with. My problem
what? Prior to DS9, the Ferengi.
Yeah, I could see that. I would have had issues with the Ferengi also.
Until Quark ran along, the Ferengi were just a blight.
I would agree with that for the most part.
Yeah. There are a couple in the GURPS sci-fi supplement. Their aliens book that I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to play with that. Some of them were clearly thrown in there as villains.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like the Valkyrie and the very angry Rock. The
Well,
very angry, psychically powerful Rock.
well, no, they're the psychically powerful rocks, who I can't remember the name of, who weren't inherently antagonistic, and they're the ones that were the crystalline computers, which were.
Right.
But yeah, the psychically they mentioned I can't remember I forget the name of them, but there are these rock beings who are powerful, very powerful psychers, but they, you know, they have reduced metabolism because they're rocks, and they're sessile because they're rocks. And they mentioned that they are terrible enemies because out there somewhere there's a rock that is thinking bad things about you
Very slowly. The Valkyrie, which are a race of parasites that take over the host and absorb parts of their memories. I do not want to play anywhere near a Valkyrie because part of them is they have they clearly have a what's the word I'm looking for? Fucking a generic biological imperative to infect others with themselves.
Right.
And it's like, nope. And the Troll.
Oh, fuck the Troll. But they're not there. They're not there as a serious player race.
No, they were there as like it was published way back when Troll Dolls were like all the rage. It was clearly a fuck you, Troll Dolls.
Yes, and they're in there entirely as a
food source,
and a plot
as
element.
A food source for the giant snake man.
Yeah, well, the giant snake man. Yeah, weirdly, but like I would have issues with a lot of the sort of antagonistic sci-fi races you've seen in a bunch of fiction and such. Like there are several several examples from Doctor Who, for instance, that the players would have to go to extreme lengths to convince me to want to play alongside.
Daleks, Cybermen.
Yeah, like no. I'm not sure how you're going. No, but I'm totally.
Harvey the Friendly Dalek.
Which is a funny concept, but you start. The problem I have with those is honestly, they start running into the drow problem, the Dristorden problem.
Yep.
It's like, okay, this gets fine.
Now I have played alongside people playing drow.
Yep, I have too.
Who were not at all reformed drow. But
Ooh,
you were their friends, and woe to anyone that fucked with their friends.
Right. And I'm okay. I'm actually okay with. I'm actually okay with with in general, conceptually, with with most antagonistic villainous races in most fiction, there being non-villainous examples of them, because no culture is that homogenous.
Right.
There's a reason that the Cybermen and the Daleks that I would have an issue with it.
Because it's actually programmed into them, literally, in the case of both of them.
Yeah. So that's where I'd have an issue more.
Like the Daleks were what was it? Genesis of the Daleks is this the adventure? You find out exactly what the fuck the Daleks are and why they're so fucked up.
Yep, this is the first one with Davros.
Yep, where you find out that the Daleks are actually so there's a big race on this world, and Davros is this big war between these two different cultures. Davros is the chief scientist of one of these cultures, and he's like, chemical weapons, nukes, everything's going back and forth. No one cares about the ecological or genetic damage being done. And his job is to figure out, okay, how do we survive this when the war is eventually over? Because according to all our stuff, we're going to be angry pudding. And his thing's like, yeah, we'll just we'll totally embrace the angry pudding thing. In fact, we will remove everything that is not conducive to the survival of angry pudding, such as passion, empathy, any inclination to do anything that doesn't involve domination.
Right.
We'll program that all into us so that when we survive and we get these kick-ass fucking like roller battle tank things.
Yep.
And yeah, that's that forcibly removed all the things that make them at all, not evil.
Yes, and you have a volume setting. Yes. That is also
Yes, and a
good.
volume setting. They must constantly scream.
They do not understand the concept of an inside voice. Oh God. But yeah, yeah. For the most part, I'm okay. Like I'm okay with the non-evil drow for the most part because again, no culture is completely homogenous.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So I don't think there are many races that I dislike to the point where I don't want to play alongside them. There are a few, we mentioned them, but yeah,
Yep.
that's sort of my take on it. The other question Zen sent us, which I want to get onto before we go too long, which is he asked what our thoughts and opinions on players running multiple characters. And he gives an example. In his current game, there are only two players and the game master, so they were to have a party of four. Each player is running two characters.
Mm.
It's an interesting and tough dilemma.
Yeah, it's I've played in plenty of games where people play multiple characters, but it's usually like, okay, Bob's gonna go work in the workshop for a couple weeks because he's got a new idea. I'm gonna bring in Joe, and just switching between characters.
Yep.
Like I've done it. I've done, yeah, it, yeah. I mean, sure, cool. Switching between different characters, it helps prevent character fatigue, and yeah, it works exceptionally well in like spy settings,
Sure.
crews on spaceships.
Yep.
Holy crap! Shadowrun's fucking made for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are games that are built with the concept baked in. Ars
Yep.
Magica.
Ars Magica. Yep.
Every player has a magus. Every player has two companions for various magi, and then there's the group of grogs that you dole out to the other players. So
Yep.
each given adventure is one player playing their magus, two of them playing the magus as companions, and everybody else are divvy up the grogs, whose job is to bodyguard the magus so the magus can deal with the important shit,
Right.
like that dragon over there. That's all sort of ties into the whole sort of troop style gaming that, and like building a campaign around there where everybody has like a where each adventure focuses on one main protagonist and his companions, and you rotate who the main protagonist is between adventures.
Mm.
That works really well. You have to plan it. It takes planning ahead of time, but it's a really interesting a way to do stuff. And you can have various sessions where like each player's main protagonist character they get together to talk and plan things out as part of an organization, and you can have like sub adventures with just everybody's companions doing stuff or what have you, or you could focus an adventure around one of the companions and like a couple other companions and a bunch of the grog types and such. And I think that's really interesting.
Sure. I haven't done anything where people people are playing two characters at once though.
I've seen it happen, and again, it's usually in like a D&D style game where for
Having a missing slot is a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've never even considered the option beyond playing like a Master Blaster type of character, where it's actually just one character, but
right. I mean, usually I've not played a D&D type game where I've had fewer than 3 players, and in those cases, I'll usually just give the party sort of a party NPC to
right
to round out what the missing role is.
Yeah, I mean, I've done the here's an NPC to play the healer type of deal or
Right.
what have you.
But like it's
Did that? Remember doing that in second edition the couple times I tried to run it because no one ever wanted to play the fucking cleric.
there's a reason for that, Eric.
Yeah, because
Second-
clerics sucked.
Second edition clerics sucked. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think again, it's a case of if the type of game you want to play sort of really does need a group of four characters, and you don't have enough players, I can see that actually working.
Yeah.
And but it's one of those things I think is playing multiple characters simultaneously. I guess it's sort of okay. I can see actually kind of working if each of you basically are playing like your primary character and each of you are playing the other. Then you have the other character's sidekick, kinda.
Yeah.
That could work.
I was just thinking like doing it with sock puppets, so you know which character is talking.
Oh yeah, sure. Something
Something like that. Hold up a little sign, what have you. But I, of course, went sock puppets because why wouldn't you want to make sock puppets in that situation?
kind of hilarious. I kind of like it.
Yes.
But yeah, no, seriously, like I like conceptually, I think like even if, like you could do like that'd be an interesting way to do a superhero game. You have each player's got their primary superhero, and then you each have the other character's sidekick.
Mm.
That could be interesting. Again, playing multiple.
Just suddenly have images of like just freezing out the other guy's two characters. You sit there like role playing between your sock puppets.
Sure, that'd be kind of amusing. But like, I really like the idea of like you're mentioning like a sci-fi one where you're playing a ship's crew, like a Star Trek game.
Yep.
Where you've got like everybody's got a character who's bridge crew, and then everybody also has characters that are like supplementary characters. Like
and then and then you have your and then you have your red shirts, which you don't allow as necessary.
Right. Yeah, that's actually not a terrible idea. Yeah, I kind of like that. Cool. So yeah, I think it's tricky is what it boils down
Yeah.
to. But honestly, if the players feel like they can do it, and like especially if you're planning like one of the characters being the dominant character from a role playing standpoint, and you're sort of the other character is sort of not as important from a role playing standpoint, then I think it actually would work out pretty okay. It's not something I'd want to do personally. I'd be much more interested in doing the sort of the troop style thing where I'm actually like, okay, I'm going to rotate this character out for a while and rotate somebody else in for plot reasons, or or because
I could see having them be siblings, and one is the face, and the other is the one that handles other shit.
right.
I could also, not gonna lie, I really like the idea of playing a, just as an example, say, an Ogre and a Gopper,
Sure.
and just doing the Master Blaster thing.
I was actually thinking like in a 40k like a Rogue Trader game, like you playing like the orc and his Gretchen's sidekick.
I did that in a Rogue Trader game. Poor Mr. Nibs. He got kicked around by everyone because he was a grot.
Grot, that's what it was. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Grot, Gretchen, it's interchangeable.
Fair enough. So yeah, I could see it working. It's just not something I would be inclined to do. And I would be if I was running a game with only 2 players, I'd be hesitant to allow it, honestly. Just because it just feels off. But I guess with the right players, I could see it working. Like I know players. I played with players who I know could do it and pull it off and do it well.
Mm.
I think like our mutual friend Roach could probably do it brilliantly.
Oh, he could do it great. He probably wouldn't even need the sock puppets.
No, he wouldn't.
I would. I would make him wear the sock puppets because that would be funny.
I think Roach would find it hilarious for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one that leaps to mind as someone who I think would be really good at that. Trying to think of other players I think could do it that we've played with. It'd be hard to do online, unless someone's good at flipping between, like, unless you actually establish you could establish different voices for the two, and we're good at flipping between them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people I know could. It's not so much they aren't capable of wouldn't be capable of doing independent voices, but the ability to flip between them easily would be tricky.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think, to be completely honest, I think most people I know of who would do it and be good at it are all people who've done a lot of game mastering.
Mm.
Like, I'm certain I could do it because I am capable of flipping between sort of voices and styles of speech pretty quickly because I have to do that as a game master. Uh,
I
and there's
might be able to swing it, but I would need the visual aid of the sock puppets.
right.
Not even so much for the other people I'm playing with, but I would need like little things that I could associate character traits that I could look
Oh yeah.
at while
There,
I'm playing that person.
like there are definite things that like I will say this flatly. Like when running stuff online, there's a lot of stuff you guys don't see in the
Right.
campaigns. Uh, for instance, like there are things I do when I'm speaking in character as an NPC in the games I run that you'll never see. For example, in the Star Wars game, when I'm speaking as Obazane and doing Obazane's dialogue, the old former Inquisitor, who's been blinded, I literally close my eyes when I speak as him.
Yep, I could totally see that. Like you've seen me play like various characters.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
I will like if I'm playing someone particularly like thuggish or monstrous, I will hunch over and I'll growl. If I'm playing someone not that, it does happen sometimes.
You do. I've
Yeah,
been in multiple games where
like
you
when
do
I
that.
was playing that orc, like I in the Rogue Trader game, like I don't think I sat upright the entire time.
Right. But yeah, like I like there are a bunch of little physical details I do when I'm doing different characters, especially ones I've established.
Right.
Um, I don't know why I started doing the like literally like with Zane. Literally, I don't know. I just did the first time I spoke as Obazane in character. I literally closed my eyes. I just instinctively did it.
Right. Well, the
And
dude's blind. It makes sense.
right,
It's a little quirk that helps you
right, exactly.
remind you of other parts about him.
Yep, exactly. Um, and it's not something that you obviously since I don't have a camera on when I'm doing this, no one will ever see this. And like I'm certain nobody knew I did that until I just said that.
Right.
But like shit like that actually helps a lot. Um, but yeah, it's tricky. Um,
Yeah. I mean, like when I was playing Doctor Arcana, it sit very upright until he started going off on one of his techno arcanobabble things. Which case I lean in at the monitor and like explain with my hands what was happening as much as what it was saying.
nice, excellent. So yeah, that's a. I think that is. It's again. I think the multiple characters thing is tricky, but it's definitely an interesting thing.
Mm.
I think again. I think it works best in games where you're swapping the characters out. I agree with Eric on that point
Yeah.
completely. Um, yeah. Um, what else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's
Yeah.
really all I can
I
say
would
about
absolutely need the fucking sock puppets the more I think about it.
that. I like the sock puppet idea. It's actually kind of neat.
Uh, uh, it's a neat idea. It's just it not only is it funny, but I think it would be entirely necessary for me to pull it off.
I actually remember one of the things that actually occasionally would happen in some of the games I've played. One of the games I played in back when I was in, God, I think this was like either the year I took off from college or right after I graduated. I forget which. I think it was the year I took off from college. I was playing in a D&D game with some friends of mine who went to MIT. Um, so it was my friend Joey and his friends at MIT, my friend Peter, most of my Thursday crew. This is where I met like my friend Kyle, for instance, who's part of my Thursday
Right.
crew. My friend Ruben, who was part of the crew but doesn't play with us anymore for various reasons, and such. And met a bunch of people, all of them cool, great gamers. My friend Joey's brother Luke also played in that game with Luke a fair bit, also just in general. And Luke was in that game, and he couldn't make it all the time, so he'd occasionally, like, people would run his character for him if he wasn't at a session. Usually Joey, and Joey, whenever he would sort of have to do something or say something in Luke's character was the party rogue, so he's doing stuff as Luke's character too. So to indicate that he was doing this was Luke's character, he basically picked his dice bag up and put it on his head, and that sort of became a shorthand for speaking out of as another character for a while with that group.
Hmm.
It's just one of those little sort of how do I okay. This is I'm now Luke, dice bag on head, and that just became shorthand for it for a while. It's like dice bag. What? Okay, sure. That actually works. Yeah. I really can't think of much else to say about the multiple characters thing.
Yeah, it's a neat idea, but yeah, I don't know how I'd do it without an obvious visual aid.
Yeah,
Even if it's like two different pots of paint, because that's what I happen to have in my hands right now.
right. Yeah, I don't know.
And how I'd be able to like indicate it to people, like say online, because I need to be able to shake the paint that I'm talking as at them.
Yeah, I think for the online play, you really need to be able to come with distinctive voices for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be like entirely like sound completely different, but like intonation matters.
Mm,
Like there are a bunch of NPCs I've done that I'm certain you, Eric, you could probably identify now just by how I was speaking and doing them.
sure, probably.
Uh, I don't know if I can think of any of them off the top of my head outside of like I've got a slightly different voice. I do a slightly different voice when I'm speaking as Zane. I could try to make a more gravelly voice for obvious reasons.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Zane is the one that leaps to mind, but he's also the most recent.
yep.
So
But I do try to do if different intonations and speech patterns. I can't remember the guy. I still can't remember the NPC's name. The guy who gave you the most recent job in the Star Wars game.
Trophic?
Not Trophic. The dude that your sister's character, your character.
Oh, right. The slime bag.
Right. Like that was almost entirely intonation, not like changing my actual voice.
Yep.
In fact, that was entirely intonation. Uh, yeah, Gav's right. Basically, Badger. But even then, I'll do slight accents from time to time too, because there are a few accents I can do not terribly. Um, I've been told I can do a non-terrible Scottish accent, not a good one because I can't. And I've used that a few times, and you know, I'm not awful at the various UK accents. I'm not good at them either. I will never claim I'm good at them. Um, I'm better than some.
I can I could say yes, that is definitely an attempt at an English accent.
Yes.
That's that's what I get.
Uh, I used to be able to do a Russian accent well, but now it sort of verges into bad German from time to time. I can't do German accents because I slip into my Russian accent almost all the time. Bizarrely, I can't do Swedish accents.
Yeah, neither can I.
I've been ruined by the Swedish
up,
chef.
I end up sounding like friggin' a really terrible Squizguard impression.
Yeah,
This idea still goes.
I can see that. Yep. In fact, I'm aware of that. But it's I've been ruined forever by like I've been around Swedish accents like my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
And the fucking Swedish chef has destroyed me.
It was Metalocalypse for me, man. Like, yeah, Swedish Chef, Metalocalypse, like, just can't do a Swedish accent
Which is a
anymore.
shame because the Swedish accent actually is kind of an interesting one.
It is.
And it's often pretty subtle because a lot of Swedes speak really good English.
Yeah.
Shocking, a lot of people from Northern Europe speak pretty damn good English for some reason or another. I don't know why.
Why are you speaking Danish? Only 200 people speak Danish. Just speak English to me like a real person.
Oh my god. So yeah, but yeah, I used to be able to do an actual Russian accent, not the comic book Russian accent, which I can do. I can do the comic book Russian accent quite well. But as I said, my attempt to do fake German accent slides into Russian all the fucking time. It's like god damn. Ah.
Son of a bitch.
And I can't do it. Like that's about the extent of the accents I can even remotely pull off. God help me if you move into Southern Europe. I'm just like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
Slavic I can do because I actually studied Russians. That's why,
I'm not good at accents at all.
Most people aren't. Honestly, it takes a lot of practice. and an ear for it. So while I'm not, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Hmm. I think that basically does it for the characters thing, though. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Anything else you want to chat about before we wrap up?
I think we covered most everything.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so I guess we should.
Defenders is on Netflix. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I've not had a chance to watch it either. I do want to watch it. Everything I've heard about it is it's okay.
Yeah.
Uh, it's light years better than Iron Fist. Not saying a
I
lot.
could not saying a lot. I couldn't get past
I
that
couldn't.
season or episode 3.
I didn't get past episode 2.
Danny Rand is such an insufferable prick.
He's Duani wants to actually. Duani actually wanted to ask just something to us. We
Sure.
can do it quickly. Top 5 favorite anime opening themes.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, we could try to spin that into a whole episode, but I don't think it really is a full episode discussion.
Right.
I don't think either of us are musically inclined enough to actually discuss that. If we boil it into the top 5 favorite anime openings that include both the music and the animation, then we could probably spin it into a whole episode. But
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can probably name 5 that I wouldn't necessarily be able to order. Well, I can give you.
Yeah,
the
I
number
can
one.
probably.
I can give you the number 1 for me, and then everything else is probably number 1 and 2 favorites.
Right.
But for me, I think top 5 in no particular order, other than the first on the list is the best, my favorite, and probably the best. Tank, i.e. the opening for Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
The opening to Yamato. The opening to Outlaw Star. The first opening for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is new to my list because, oh my god, it's great.
Right.
And probably Slayer's Next. It's opening.
Let me see here. Tank, obviously.
Yep.
The opening for Death Parade.
It's a good one.
Really good. Yeah. What else was there? Black Paper Moon from Soul Eater.
That's a good one, yeah.
Gurren Lagann, and any Full Metal Alchemist opening.
Those are also very good.
Those are all good. Fucking the ending theme from Madoka Magica.
Yeah, but that's an ending theme.
That's an ending theme. That's not an opening. But it gets so honorable mention for that.
Yeah, it's one of the best ending themes. I mean,
Yeah.
I will say flatly, for purely from a musical standpoint, JoJo's cheats on ending themes. Cheats egregiously. It's like, yeah, our ending themes are at least for the first 4 seasons, first 3 seasons are. For season 1, it's Roundabout. Season 2, Walk Like an Egyptian. Season 3, Last Train Home. It's like, fuck you!
The first opening for Alnoa Zero is also really good.
Oh, cool.
Unlike the show. Wow, really, really strong opening for our first couple episodes for Alnoa Zero, and it sort of starts.
There are a bunch of opening themes
Yeah.
I think are great. But I'm sort of going off my favorites there. But like, you know, Baccano's opening theme's great.
Yep.
I'm forgetting what it was.
And either of the Kill la Kill ones.
Both the Kill la Kills are great.
Any of the fucking Attack on Titan openings.
They're damn good. The first opening theme for My Hero Academia is amazing.
Yep, that's really good. The last theme for Code Geass is season 1. That's actually really good.
Yeah, that one's really good.
They only use it for like 2 episodes, which is a shame.
Durara's opening theme is incredible. The opening as a whole is okay, and is very clearly trying to do the same, to be sort of stylistically similar to Baccano's. Same people behind both. Baccano's is a better opening as a whole, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because everything where they cut between the characters tells you something about the characters, and everything is on like musical beats too. It is one of the best constructed openings I've seen in a long fucking time.
Durara's just in general, I really like the first season of Durara. Durara 2 is a convoluted mess of just what's going on.
Yeah. Martian Successor Nadesco's opening theme's also really good.
You get to burning.
Yeah, that goddamn, that's fucking catchy.
Evangelions theme deserves a mention.
Well,
It's really good.
It is a great opening theme that was for a while overhyped, but it's still really good. I like.
Yep.
I'm not going to say it's overrated because it's not. It was for a little while overhyped, but that's
Yeah.
basically it was overrated. Now it's underrated, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. I would agree. There.
God, there are a lot of really good openings.
Trigon's opening theme.
It's good. Bleach has a bunch of great openings.
Yeah, Bleach has some really good openings. It's a shame.
Bleach has a lot of great music in general. It's just
Yeah,
God, that show fell apart.
it really did.
Oh God. Rurouni Kenshin's openings is good.
I haven't seen much of Ronin Kenshin. I just sort of like I bounced off it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Eric, you've seen Rurouni Kenshin in space. You've watched Trigun.
Oh yeah,
They're basically the same damn show. I mean, they're not exactly the same show, but they're basically the same damn show.
yeah. Except one is all samurai and whatnot. The other one has like giant monsters with corkscrew fists and weird mutants and cowboys all in space.
Yep. No, I totally get why I totally get why you bounce off Rurouni Kenshin and love Trigun. They're both fucking great, though. I mean, honestly.
Oh, we haven't done. I don't think Gav's seen Trigun.
No, we're gonna do Trigun at some point. It's a given.
That might be my next choice, actually.
Okay. So yeah, but yeah, those. I mean, they're just God, and there are a lot of really, really great opening themes in anime.
Yep.
We could probably do a show on our favorite
It's
openings
actually
as
a
whole.
YouTube channel that's pretty much dedicated to talking about them.
Yeah. We could probably do an episode about our 5 favorite anime openings, including both music. I will say this flatly: there are a bunch of anime that I love the opening cinematics for them, but I'm not a big fan of the music.
Mm.
And there are a bunch of
Then
ones
you
I
have
love the music
Parasite.
and don't love or a bunch of ones I love the music but don't really care for the opening animations for it.
Right.
And yes, Gav jokes. If Peter doesn't quit before we finish the current show, I'm not quitting because of this show, because of Keijo. No, because I'm soldiering through it because I know what we're going to be doing next, and I'm okay with that. I'm good with it. Apparently, it's my job to bounce us back from something that I hate. I'm going to say flatly, I'm not hating Keijo. I'm merely disliking it.
Right.
Actually, long story short, I don't care enough about Keijo to hate it, basically. It does not infuriate me the way Parasite did, basically, is what it boils down to.
Parasite, yeah, Parasite. I was much more tolerant of that than Peter. Actually, kind of liked the show up until the last few episodes, when it just took a nosedive.
It basically, the last 4 episodes embraced everything I hate about the show.
I will agree. It just threw everything interesting that I was enjoying about the show out the window.
Yeah.
Konosuba's fucking amazing. Fight me.
I liked season 2.
Season 2, yeah, season 2 is great. Season 2 is definitely better.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's going to do it for this episode, though.
Yep.
Yeah, this week we focused on viewer questions, actually. We got 2 pretty good ones, actually.
Yeah.
And so if you got questions like us answering the show, we either try to save time at the end of each episode to talk about answer viewer questions, or we might structure a show around answering several viewer questions, of course, over the course of the show. But if you've got questions you'd like us to answer on the show, please do send them to us. We can either email them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com. Or you can post them in the comments on YouTube, or I guess you could tweet them at me. My Twitter handle is @MechaGM. Any of those will work. If you've got show topic suggestions for us, dear God, we love show topic suggestions. Please
Those are
send those
great.
to us. Same deals, email, Twitter, comments on YouTube, what have you. We love that. We love that. We love it. We love it. If you've got feedback for us, ways we can make the show better, let us know. We really want to hear it, and it's really useful. Yeah. And we record the show Monday nights at usually about 7 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/MechaGM. And upload the recordings to youtube.com. So you can find me there at youtube.com/MechaJam. Just go there. You'll find my stuff. Yeah, and I tweet out when the show's going to be going live and whenever I'm streaming on Twitch. So keep an eye on my Twitter handle, @MechaGM, and you'll know when the stream's going up. Yeah, but that's going to do it for this week. Yep, that's it. Any last words you want to fire out there before we wrap up?
I like ice cream.
Ice cream is good, folks. That's going to do it for this week, guys. Take care, everybody. Keep on gaming.
Bye, guys.